Hello and welcome along to a special edition of The Match as we reflect on Real Madrid's passage to the quarter-finals of the Champions League. Los Blancos recording a 2-1 win over Manchester United at Old Trafford, which helped them to a 3-2 victory on aggregate. With me to look back on the tie is Tim Stannard. Tim, welcome along.
Nice to be here.
Now, it was a tough old tie, but Madrid got there in the end.
They did, and if Real Madrid are to win their 10th big European title, it's going to be an incredibly difficult journey. In the group stages, they face the champions of Holland, the champions of England, the champions of Germany. And in the last 16, which is normally you can expect an easier tie, perhaps because they did do well in the group stages and they had to take on the future champions of England. It wasn't easy, but they got through, and it's a massive, massive boost for the club. Absolutely,
really is a feel-good factor around Real Madrid at the moment, particularly after the back-to-back Clasico victories over Barcelona, which preceded that 2-1 win at Old Trafford. Let's have a look at the game then at Old Trafford, because it was a bit of a funny old game. The first half wasn't brilliant from Real Madrid. The second half was where all the action was.
Yeah, this is a match where if you speak to anyone before it, speaking to people in the city, no one had any idea really what was going to happen. It could have been 3-2, 4-3 to any one of the sides. I think we knew it was going to be dramatic, and indeed it was. As you said, it wasn't the best start to Real Madrid. As we've seen in some matches, they struggled a little bit in possession, and Manchester United knew this. They gave them the ball and they let Real Madrid, who lacked a little bit of speed, a little bit of movement. One of the problems was perhaps Cristiano Ronaldo was struggling a little bit with the atmosphere. However, the sending off did make a difference in the match. It really gave Real Madrid an impetus so they could go ahead and win this game. Yeah, they were 1-0 down from that own goal from Sergio Ramos. Fantastic effort from Luka Modric, and of course it did have to be Cristiano Ronaldo just getting on the end of that. I'm not sure if it was a cross or a shot there from Gonzalo Higuain, but it really doesn't matter because that was the one that did it. And yes, Real Madrid were suffering in the last 15-20 minutes, of course, as Manchester United were pushing, but United were never going to get back in that game.
Well, Diego Lopez made some fantastic saves to keep Manchester United out. Let's talk a bit about Cristiano Ronaldo, because there was so much spoken and said and written about him before the game, about him returning to Old Trafford. Now, let's just focus on how he was at Old Trafford, because it wasn't his best game.
I think on Wednesday night he would have got home, or Tuesday night rather, back to Madrid, shut the door in his house and said, I'm really happy that's over, not because of the importance of the match, but a huge amount of attention on him because of his history with Manchester United. You can't imagine the amount of times he was asked, what does it feel like to be going back to your old club? What's Sir Alex Ferguson like? What does he mean to you? And I think it was quite draining, and of course all the pressure on him. We saw some shots from there at the airport, all the fans wanting to meet him, all the journalists wanting to speak to him, and indeed the pressure as well, because he knew that he was the main man for Real Madrid in a vital, vital game. Had Real Madrid not got through that match, it would have been a very difficult end to the season, but they did, and he got the winning goal. But as you said, he said himself, for the first time in my career, I struggled a little bit with the pressure that was on me, but I think whatever team they get in the next few rounds is going to be a heck of a lot easier for Ronaldo than Manchester United.
Well, let's hear from the man himself. Cristiano Ronaldo spoke to reporters in the mix zone after the game.
Well, it was an emotional game. You know, to play here, and after that, what the supporters did with me, it was massive. You know, I feel very emotional. But I have to say thank you to all of them, to the stadium, to the supporters, to the players, to everyone, because it was an unbelievable night for me.
And another very important.
An unbelievable night for Cristiano Ronaldo. Like you said, he is probably very relieved that it's over, because he won't have as an emotionally difficult game again, really.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter who they play in the next round. It's not going to have the same connection. So he can do what he does best, which is just focusing on his football and not have to worry about anything else.
Absolutely right. Let's hear from the Real Madrid manager, Jose Mourinho, and get his thoughts on how the game at Old Trafford unfolded.
And after the 2 goals, I know what is Old Trafford. I know what is Sir Alex Ferguson as a leader, what he can do to his team by the mental point of view. So I could guess that the end of the match would be what we had. And in that part, we couldn't control the game by possession, which frustrated me, because with 1 player more and with the midfield, with the triangle very clear, Alonso, Khedira and Modric. I thought, plus Cristiano coming for the ball, plus Kaká coming for the ball, I thought we should control the match with ball possession. We couldn't. And in that moment, we had Diego Lopez that gave us the victory. And to have a fantastic goalkeeper that gives you the victory, I think he's also part of the game because De Gea was the man of the match in Madrid, and today the man of the match was Diego Lopez.
Jose Mourinho in the post-match press conference. To go to Old Trafford and to beat Manchester United, who are so many points clear at the top of the English Premier League, how much confidence will that give Real Madrid for the future rounds?
A huge amount of confidence because they're going to have to go to some very big stadiums, but they know in the space of a week they beat Barcelona in the Camp Nou and they beat Manchester United in Old Trafford. And it's interesting what Jose Mourinho was saying there. He was, I think, trying to dampen down expectations, though. This was still the last 16. They've got to get through the quarterfinals, they've got to get through the semi-finals.
Well, it felt like a semi-final, didn't it?
And this is it. It felt like they'd not won it, but they felt they'd got through to the final. So what Mourinho was saying, I think, was what I agree with. They do need to play better. They do need to play better in possession. They need to manage games a little bit better. And so what he's trying to do is say, look, there's a very, very long way to go. We have to improve. We can improve. But so I agree with Mourinho there.
Right. The Champions League for Real Madrid, more than any other club, means so much. This is the club which wants to win the Champions League, which wants to win La Décima so much. Is the team good enough to do it?
The team is good enough. You look at the players, they've got the talents there. However, there are some very, very good sides, especially this year when there's a lot of teams in the tournament who've won their respective leagues and can focus everything on the Champions League. So this is going to be the hardest one, I think, in recent years, the most difficult one to win. Real Madrid can win it, but there is a long way to go.
Right, well, that's all we've got time for on this edition of The Match. Real Madrid are another step closer to winning La Décima. From Tim and myself, it's adios.